Oh, hello there. I'm Alex, and after 1 hour of configuring OBS scenes and all that good stuff on Linux, I managed to do it. Now, today, as the title says, I will attempt to code live on a stream and work on a project called Vince. Now, Vince is a Discord bot, but is a little bit more special than the others, really. Not only he has multiple personalities, but I am striving to give him the ability, or more so, I am striving to give people the ability to contribute to the boat as easy as possible. I mean, I've tried to make a modular design so that it allows people to make their own modules. Now there are and personalities, by the way. Now there are little problems with this, because if someone makes a module, it needs to be supported by the official personalities lists, but that would be a problem for another time. Now today I have a list right here. I have a list right here with what I wanna do. So today I will make a function that makes the getting of personality easier. What does this mean? It means that in the current implementation, let's take for instance the main module. You have this self.bot.say, self.get personality data of bot instance, and then it gets this based on the function's name. Each function has a way of responding. Of course, not all functions have a way of responding, but generally they do have a way of responding. Now, of course, this is I should point on high. This ultimately contains a single string. Now, instead of this, I wanna make in the base module class a function that automatically gets the name of the function from which it was called, and basically wrap all this stuff in a single call. Now the next thing I want to do is check permissions for each function. What does this mean? Some functions, needless to say, cannot be called by a normal people in the server. Like for instance, the change personality command. It shouldn't be called by normal users, or at least it shouldn't be allowed. Now, how am I going to do this? Instead of checking in each function, in my hold a second. Alright, what is this? This is a JSON file that describes the module, the library, the class, the main module class, how it is called, the instance class, or if it needs resources, and the default configuration. Now, how my current code is working? The good question. The idea is that module classes are built based on this and initialized based on this description file. Now I'm aiming to make a checking code in the base class that checks if the function is called by the right user or not. Now I want to do this checking as high level as possible. I mean, not in each. I mean, what I'm going to expose to each of these functions is a checking function that checks the permissions the certain user has. Now, of course, this is going to be I'm sorry. This is not going to be very hard to implement, but it's going to be tedious nonetheless. I'm wondering what I should modify. Can I modify them on OBS is consuming a quarter of my CPU, so I've changed the profile. That's why it's moving so hard. The lag is killing me. Oh wow, didn't work. Faster then. Come on, man, just drop those percentages. Alright, so I will begin with my first task. Make a function that makes the getting of personality easier. Now this function is going to be located inside the base module. This is the base module. Every class that is that represents a module is derived from this base class. Now I have get personality data that makes the problem easier, but again I should continue with making this a lot more easier to use. Now what am I going to do is look on the stack of the calls and check the function which called this one in order to ultimately get the function that called me and its name more specifically. Now I have to admit I am not entirely sure how to do this. That's why Google is my friend in here. Alright, so I found what I was needing. There is this library called inspect, which allows me to do just what I want to do. Now where should I put this window? Nah, that's okay, I suppose. Alright, so Of course, before modifying the source code, we need to check if it's working. That's always what I'm doing. I'm always checking before. Instead of printing this specific string, I wanna print the entire color frame, just to be sure about how it looks. So this looks like an object. Yes, it seems to be an object. Function F2. Alright, function F1. This is our color. So there are two arrays. Where is the first array? This is where the first array begins. Alright, where does it end though? So this is the first array. So on position 1 we have this file name dots. What? Unfortunately now I cannot modify the code for F2. Let's print what color frame 1 and 3. Oops. And let's call this guy. Alright, so supposedly it works. Now let's implement this inside get personality data. Alright, the first thing we have to do is set a current frame and get it from the inspect library. One mentionable thing, in Python these are called actually modules, but I don't want confusion about my modules and Python's modules. I'll call them just libraries. So we have color frame, get it from using this and the function. Right. Now, before doing major modifications, I wanna print a color name, because there is a slight chance the name of the function will be there is a chance the name of the function will contain the name of the class too, which is quite bad if this is the case. So I will just start the bot. Now it takes some time to actually start, right? This is the testing server I am using. So that function gets called every time a function needs a personality, so I'll just use this. So hi called us, which is good. That's exactly what I wanted. Right, one thing I will do is go to vince.py, and on ready I will disable this line. I'll just let the bot run now. Right, so back in base, instead of returning this print our color name, we are going to return this color name. I have to do some changes in the commands too. Alright, let's start making these changes. So instead of, we are going to say this, instead of no more highs in there, so hard working like this, no more highs in here. Alright. Something else? No. And then logger.py. We have the only time a personality is used is here, I suppose. I hope everything is working. Yeah, I hope. Let's stop this bot and run it again. Let's test this new command. Well, not new. So it's still working, and I wanna check personality. Still working, and this is the log channel. Right, this is the log channel. Every time a message gets sent or edited or removed, messages are sent in here. Let's see. So now the message was recorded. Now the editing of the message was recorded, and now the deletion of the message was recorded. See? This is a combination between these two colors. It actually took some time to get these embeddeds right. I could have done it without embeddeds, but then people would be tagged, which would be annoying, especially for those who have access to the log channel. Now this is the first part of the things. I actually did it. Is there something else to do in here besides committing? Right, so I will commit them separately. Base get. What was the function called? No, wait. Wait a little second. Yeah, I have both instance. Now the question is, should it pass the bot instance or the context? I'll just let it pass the context. Committing messages are really hard to write. I always think, what should I write? Updated the calling way for get personality data. There we go, nice commit message. This time I will push to push. Right, and in here, instead of commenting this line, I will actually delete it, because it was a debug thing. At some point I had a problem in which all the servers registered in the database would get deleted with no actual reason. I mean, they would get resetted, but so I thought that those servers don't get registered, so I put a debug in there. Let's continue with our checking of the thing. Now what I am going to do in here is check permissions. I hope. No, it's written okay. I will require a context. Now CTX. I'm actually not sure what is the type of the context. Actually I know. I actually know. This is a type of the context. If JTX is not this type, I will raise an error. Raise exception. Now, why do I need a context? From the context, I want to get the user that sent the message, so I can make a check on him. Now, as I specified earlier, I will have I will need a list in here called permission, a dictionary actually. Permissions for each function. Let's check our functions available in here. Right, so I compiled all these inside this Sandy, but instead of strings, I will actually have arrays of permissions, and I will check if the user has all permissions available, I suppose. Alright, for high, you need just, let's say, you need write. For change personality, you need manage server. And for GDB, which is a debug command only for me, you need to be myself. I'll have to see how I check upon this. But yeah, that's what I'm aiming to do. Now permissions code should be loaded just like the resources. This is a test, by the way. So where was I loading the resources? Actually, I'll be right back. I need a pee break. Alright, I'm back for my pee break. So, what am I going to do now besides the resources code? So, the resources code the code works as follows. The loader part loads everything in the JSON file, and then it passes the resource, this exact entry, to the class right here. Yeah, so now I will pass permissions to. Where do I have to pass permissions? Let's see. I forgot. Make module builders, JSON config, modules directories. Alright, here module builder, self module resource, personality data. So I will have to load permissions inside here to module config, module name of permissions. Then I will have base.py to require this as a parameter. Alright, the next step is I wanna check logger.py really quick now. So now we don't have any. I am not actually having a constructor in any of these classes, so it's okay. Now I just need to save this permission. Alright. Now inside of this, inside check permission, after we have checked that ctx is a context, we need to check for the actual permission. I will get a color really quick by doing these steps. Now usually I am against copy pasting code. I would have made a function for that, but this is another case, because I would have to search about the color of the color. That's just one too many levels. What's up with this? Oh, whoops. No, I don't want to make it static. Alright, so we get the permissions for these functions as follows: self.permission permissions. Wait, what? Permissions right there. Permissions. We get the permissions as follows: permissions of color name. Now we then have to iterate through all the permissions. And then we have to check each one. If I will make the checking code for my permission. If permission is equal with myself, then I have to check the I will put here really quick that After we get this, I will need a user is set a context. If it's a context, we have get ID from context. Where is get ID from context? Channel server ID. So context.message.author, I suppose. I forgot. Let me check my. Now documentation is important to have opened always. Always have documentation opened. API reference. We are searching for in data classes context. It should be about here. No. We are searching for message. Now message has author, which is a member, which is a subclass of user. So that's how we get the ID. Author dot, yeah, just that like this. And if it is required to be me, then I will have to, let's do this. Check is true. If permission is Alex, if user.id is equals with my own ID, which is this, big numbers, yay. Then check can I do the thing that I can do in C++ and write here check is check and I suppose I can, which is good for me. Now return check. I'll try this really fast in GDB. If self.check permissions context is true, do this. Right, this now should work. Let's what? Oh yeah, in the logging JSON I didn't add the new permission thing, so I will just copy this. This is for all the functions that need permission checking. So for all the functions that will use the check permission function, which in this case is just logs or set log channel, which needs manage server. Now our code should work. It's working. Let's see if on my shutter metrics account I can still use GDB function. No, it appears I can't. What? Comment raise an exception. Check permission argument passed is not context. Check permission argument passed is not context. I wonder why. Then what is CTX? I'm passing this, right? Let me just print this. Such a pity. The worst part is that logging in with the Discord.py API takes a lot of time for some reason. Right. But why? Oh, I know why. Because its type of CTX should be this. Silly me. Now it should work flawlessly. I haven't checked if I have any viewers. Oh no. I forgot to set my category on YouTube. I've did it now. Let's check. Alright, so it's not working anymore, which is good for the purpose. Let me check really fast if on my AlexG50 account still works. It should work. Yeah, it's still working. So the checking of the user checking works well. Now I have to check for permissions for another users. How am I going to do this? I am not entirely sure. I just need the documentation that's here. So a member, a member has roles. Alright, so I have this function. No, I have this. Yes, this function. This appears to be a function which tells me what permissions does the member have. But I'll actually have to check in the certain channel in which the message was sent. Do I have permissions in? Alright, let's check this function. So how? Alright, so I'll need permissions too, but not now. Now how am I going to get a user permissions? Now I need to get a channel which is setx.message.channel, and then I'll have to call permissions for, and then I will have a member in there, which is user. Alright, so now I have to check how permissions look. Wraps up the Discord permission value. The raw value. This value is a byte array of field of 32-bit integer representing the currently available permissions. You should query permissions via the properties rather than using this raw value. I'm not planning to use raw values. I want just the name of permissions. Class method none. Is strict superset, is strict subset, is superset what? All channel. Okay. Create instant invite, ban members, manage members. Isn't there a way to use voice activation message, manage emojis? Alright, so what I'm going to do in here is the next thing, is the following thing. I am going to create a dictionary inside my code that will tell which function to call based on the name. Now I have to wrap all this up. Alright, let's see. I will need kick members. Let's see. So permissions delegates. Kick members will return me. I forgot if I can do a certain thing. Supposedly I have a class. Supposedly I have a class, let's say called A, and I have a function inside that class which is underline A, which prints A. Nice example there. So I have an instance A underline I of that class, and then I call oh no. Let's make a class B because I forgot one thing. Def underline B self. Yeah, that's what I forgot. Whoops. I put a thing in there. Hopefully. Yeah, it doesn't matter, I suppose. So B underline I is B, and B underline I dot B underline B. Oops. Now if I wanted, I could wrap this up like so. Let's say underline B f from function is B underline I dot underline B, and then I will be able to call it like this. But I want to do something else. I want to do the following thing. I want to have like so. B underline F underline 1 is, let's say, B dot underline F. Am I able to do this? b underline b. Whoops. Now if I wanna call, what's this, function b dot underline b at. So if I wanna call this, I should be able to do so by writing b underline I in here. Yes, that's what I'll try to do. Now I have this superclass called permissions. Alright, it's called permissions. I have to import this called dot permissions. I'll still not be able to. Yeah, I'll not be able to. From this import permissions. There we go. Permissions dot kick members. Then ban members. We need ban members too. Now ban members permission. We need administrator. Administrate. I don't know how to write. Just I'm hitting all the wrong keys. Administrator. Next one. Manage channels. I'm not sure if someone can use this in a certain way. I mean, I'm not sure if I will need a command that will require these permissions, but I'll just add it in here. Permissions dot add manage channels. Maybe you can make an interface like thing that will be able to change the settings from commands and reactions and emoji stuff, but I'm not sure if that's too doable. Manage server. Now this is something that I will actually need. Manage server. Add reactions. I'm not sure if I'll need this one. Read. I surely need this one, I suppose. It's just for the sake of stuff. Permissions dot read messages. Send messages, which I've called write. Permissions dot send messages. I'm not going to do anything with TTS. Now manage messages is a really important permission to us, because manage messages allows spinning and deleting of messages. Manage messages permissions dot manage messages, embed links, read message history, mention everyone. No, I don't think I will need this. Move members. Not sure. Maybe I will add it if I need. Manage nicknames. Now this is another important permissions to ask. Permissions dot manage nicknames. Now manage roles, another permissions to ask. Manage roles. You can do a command that will add roles to a certain user, so you need to manage roles. Manage webhooks. No. Manage emojis. I don't think this is needed. Alright, so that's all the permissions I will need for the time being. Now instead of going with rings of settings of whatever, I'll actually go with raw permissions for one simple reason. It's easier for everyone instead of having some stuff like it's easier for everyone really. Now check permissions, check through. Okay, if the permission is not an Alex G50, then we need the standard checking code for this. I forgot the two dots, which is check, get check, and permission delegates of permission. Yeah, permission dot no, we call here with user permissions. There we go. What's wrong with this? What white? It was in page. What's wrong with this? Why remove the call? Control C. No, it's okay. I know what I'm doing. Alright, let's check out. So set log channel requires manage server. Let's add this checking in all the channels. If self dot check permissions context, we pass the context, then this needs to be one inliner, else self dot else just else. We will say self dot port dot say user does not meet required permissions. This is just a basic error for the time being, because I would have to have a way for managing the personality things in there. So yeah. Alright, so the next step is inside the logger.py. This is the only function in here that requires us to check permission. Right, so where were I? Inside logger.py. Alright, so this should be just about right. Let's check. So right now I can say v high property is not callable. Property is not callable. Wait a second. Oh no. What am I going to do then? So those are properties in fact. Alright, so what am I going to do is the following. I will have this one, this guy, permissions, and instead of this I will have user permissions. Alright, and I'll call this permissions dictionary. User permissions dictionary. Alright, then these are misaligned. Let's just let it format file. There we go. Beautiful. And I'm not going to call this anymore. It's moving, my computer is moving painfully slowly. Alright, so it should work now. Let me remove the admin permissions from myself. First let's just check that I am able to change to set log channel, right? Oops. Alright, so I am still able to set a log channel. Now I will remove from myself this. So now I have no roles. And in log channel I will. Now it should give our error. User does not require permissions. That's awesome. That's actually awesome. It works flawlessly. Now instead of this ugly thing, I will make a static method which would get build permissions dictionary based on user. I will need a user. No, I will need a user. No, actually I will just require the user permissions. Now a bad thing about Python is I'm not sure if I can do overloading. I mean, yeah, overloading it's called. So I have to call base dot There we go. No check permission, not this one. Build permissions. Here's permissions. Okay, there we go. Let's see if it's still working. No, it's not working. I wrote something badly. Yeah. Congratulations, me. My stream is been running for 1 hour. How do I check if I have views on YouTube? Yeah, one person is watching. I hope it's not me. Alright, there we go. It's working flawlessly. Now I will not print context anymore. But instead I will do, okay, so yeah, I've now realized that I'm pretty sure I can do this. Check permissions, self, not context anymore, user, channel, virgula, I'm sorry, comma, permissions required. This is a dictionary with the permissions required. No, it's a list with the permissions required. And I will do this with user permissions is channel dot permissions underline for user, then we build user permissions dictionary, this is important, gets base dot so it gets this. Now that I have the dictionary, I have to do this checking code. There we go. Permissions required. Alright, so we need the following. User is discord.user. Am I right? I hope so. From discord.user import user. So we need user to be a user. Import channel from discord.channel. We need this to be a channel, and then we need this to be a list. Okay, this should be okay. And now I will do the following thing. Instead of this, I will do the next thing. Return base. No, I will make this static. So I need a user, which is user. I need a channel, which is setx dot message dot channel, and I need a list with permissions. Self dot permissions of color name. Alright, this should be okay. The code is unreachable. I know it's unreachable. I'm trying to test something before I'm doing major changes. This window. Missing 2 positional arguments and permissions required. No, I'm not missing anything. Hold a second, where? Oh no, so it can't do the thing. Command invoke channel and permission. So Python doesn't know any overloading, does it? What am I calling? Oh yeah, I'm calling self dot. Let me check if I can do. No, not on this window though. On this one. Python function overloading. Method overloading. What operator overloading? How do I use method overloading in Python? Yes, I do need, because it's easier. This is just ugly. Yeah, it's just ugly. So I will do check permissions, underline. No. What should I do? Check require permissions. Yeah, I will rename this like so, and I will change this in here. Now everything should be fine. Oh no, wait. Okay, hi, I'm Vince, nice to meet you. I was using the wrong channel apparently. Right. Hi, I'm Vince, nice to meet you. Okay, now everything is working fine, and supposedly I don't need this code anymore. I will just work on. I don't need this, but instead of this I will write channel gets up until this point. Instead of this, I'll write just permissions. Alright, there we go. Now we have a method for checking permissions. Which is cool. But we need one more step. Alright, so in get personality data I will have a global which by default gets true. Is global. And if it is a global error message, if is global, then else it's not global, obviously. You will need to tell me what global thing you need. A message name, which is none by default, if it is global, obviously. Alright, so instead of color name we have message name. So inside this, now the best thing about this thing is that we cannot call function names, we cannot call functions global. So inside of here, where is my JSON, I will have I will have a global personality data. So I will need inside config default server config personalities, active personalities here. Global now global will contain a folder which is inside. Let's see, where can I put it? I will put it in the main. Global I will put them in a folder called resources / global. This is my phone. Global personalities. Alright, and I will move this data.db in the resources part to where is config? This one, I want this one. Added global property to personalities. Commit and push, and I will move this to resources slash data.db, and I will push it right now to alright. Then I will need a new folder, directory, resources. Good name, I'll move this inside. Right, okay. Oh, it's still ignored, which is good. And now I will have a directory called global underline personalities. And inside of this I will need this one. Now this will be called global and now I will need permission. So we are normal. Permissions not met. We are now gopnik. Bljet. You ain't got perms. Now we are a loyal servant. Sir, it appears that the permissions which you have are not high enough. It appears that that your greatness is missing some permissions. There we go. And I may actually end up giving a string of missing permissions inside base. So added permission checking code functions. That's what That's the same. Why? Hold a second. What's that hole in my code? Oh yeah, it's this thing. So I am ready to commit this. Commit and push. Push. Refreshing takes a while, unfortunately. Oh no, now I want to do a few modifications. Main.py. I will just hold a second. Alright. What's changed with this? Alright. Now the next step is, let's see, I will now need each module to take what I want to do is, the first thing I want to do is inside this, if the permissions are not met, oh, where was the function? No, I need to be in base. Alright, so this does not need any. So when you don't have Alex G50 permission, oh, it should be completely silent. No, actually I won't do. No, I wanna do. It's going to be a little bit more complicated, factually. So, inside .base, I should have a function called def get unmet permissions. It will be the same as this one, except the main code. Except this, instead of this I'll have if. No, if not. Right, so unmet permissions. And now I should have a static method which just converts static method def list to string. No, actually, yes. I'm not sure what parameters does this function require. Alright, so it's the first object. Alright, so I'm going to do a trick, which is this one, format. Why I'm going to do this? Just because my function is called list to string, so I don't want to end up suffering. Alright, so there we go. Now we need to handle this boy. So if the permissions were unmet, we get the following. So I'm going to do another function inside of my base class. Which is going to check so I will have a self, oh wait, no, I will need this to be a sync. I will need this to be I will need this to be a sync def, a sync def await dot self.say. I'm actually not sure if this is going to work, So instead I should consider using send messages. Crap, son. The only problem with this is that I would need to pass the context, and I would need to, yeah, let's just pass the context. So it needs the context and no, this actually needs just the context, which is good. So I will get the following stuff from the context. Await self.send message, and I forgot in which order should I do it. Let me see. No data classes. Yes, data classes, I think. It's a user. No, I need to get to client class, application information, event, utility functions, application info, enumerations. No. Event references. I forgot how to call send message. Actually, I have in logger.py, I suppose. No. Send message. So destination is the channel. Then you have content, I think. So print unmet self, okay. Destination nation gets channel content or message. I'm actually unsure on how to call. I will just discord.py send message. Alright, so I don't need any of the fancy stuff in here, just destination and this thing. User does not require permissions. Alright. Dot format unmet underline permissions is base dot get what check permissions, PL permissions dictionary, get unmet permissions, and we need a user, a channel, and permissions required, which is just permissions. And we then do base list to string unmet permissions. Only we do this only if not in unmet permissions. That's the only time we do it. Because that function needs to be invisible. Right? That function actually needs to be invisible. So only I am able to access it. Now instead of I need to modify here, instead I will await after and the next target is logger.py and here. Alright, so now this should work. Oops, what's wrong? Don't tell me that. No, it's not. What the message name? So personality data. Hold a second, in which file? In personality data. Just a minor mistake from my side. So I am still able to say hi. This shouldn't print anything. And I will just erase my role right now. It's working flawlessly, which is awesome. Now I will push everything beside this part. And I will actually delete this. And now I should proceed by pushing. Alright, now I will begin by doing global personalities. So the first step in doing global personalities. So where is my things? So inside here I should load all the personalities. I actually forgot my own code. Where would I load the personalities? Module config, module instance builder, self load personality module directory, module name. Alright. So what I'm doing now is I'm loading self.load personality. So it actually needs a first year and a second year. First year. Second tier. Actually, no. I will just put only location inside of this. What? Wait, what? Oh, oops, sorry. Load personality from there. Personalities of global of location. I will actually copy this code and modify it instead of module directory, I will just put as follows, and instead of this I need this, I need this, and I need, wait, what? No, I will just have, here they are global, so no, actually I will just exclude this. No, I want so the globals, how they were looking global. You need global in here, else how it wouldn't work. Personality global, I will change this global. And in here, after I will have global personalities, and global personalities shall only be manipulated by base.py in a way. Yes, just base.py. Just the base class will manipulate global personality data. Check permissions. Alright, so inside print unmet, instead of doing this, oh no, we need both instance. Base.get instance. Get instance context. Oh, we need a self context. Is global is true, and it's called in my books, no, oops, wrong, permissions not met. Nice name. Alright, beautiful. So now I am loading global personalities. I am using them hopefully properly. Alright, so now we need one more thing to specify. Inside base class, inside get personality, wait, hold a second, I'm trying to comprehend what I was thinking at. Yeah, self personality. So what is this thing returning? Oh yeah, it's returning correctly, yeah. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. Now let's check. Yay. But more debugging, of course, cause why not? Oh, I know what's the problem. Do I? No, I don't. I don't know what's the problem. It should be okay. Inside this one I will print alright, let's check. Change personality. Oh, I know what's the problem. I've used the same thing. Well, now I hope it looks right. It's awesome. Now it works awesomely. Now one thing I wanna do before pushing everything is this. Wrong button. I will now push absolutely everything. Added global permissions. Commit and push. And now I think I am done for today. I've actually managed to do all my goals. How do you... Alright. I've managed to do these 2 goals, which is awesome. And the bot is working perfectly. I should give me back my admin role in my server. I did it. Alright, so before I go, I actually want to tell you how my code is working. So let me open a GIMP right here. It's been 2 hours since I started, so just 10 more minutes to explain you how my code is working and what is my ideology. So the idea is the following. So I have all these modules which they have properties. Each module is built from these properties. Now the idea is that the idea is the following. You don't need to change the Python code to add modules. For instance, if I wanted to add another module, I would just copy an existing folder, name everything, or rename everything that I need to be renamed, and continue my day. I also need to add inside config the fact that it's an active, right here, the fact that it's an active module. Now the personalities are stored individually for each module. This is important because you just can't have a big folder with all personalities, although I am considering doing this way instead of this way, or having a single folder for all personality files. Instead, each module having its personalities folder inside its own folder. But for this time it's okay. Now everything is stored inside the database, and inside each, no, this is not a good example. Each module has an instance with it. An instance of a module is a class that represents a server and its configuration for that certain server. Now all these instances are put inside. All these instances are transformed to dictionaries, and the database is updated and read from based on and crap. So what I want to say is that the database is updated from these instances. So for instance, here where bot instance, I push an update to the database, which causes everything to be updated, and the bot instance takes all of its module instances, converts them to dictionaries through this function, and that's all it does actually, and updates the database. Now at the initialization, the database is read from it, all the single table with all its entries, and all the instances, all the module instances are initialized from those entries. That's about it, I think. I should push to my GitHub before. Now I am pushing, so that's all the changes and all the commits I have done today. If I didn't push to GitHub, where did I push, would you ask? I have a server of GitLab running on my own computer Well, I keep all my projects, including the secret ones and all the public ones. Now, this is it for today. I'm actually happy that I managed to do all the changes I wanted to in just a little over 2 hours, which is really nice. And until next time, don't forget to check my YouTube channel. It will actually be a long time until I will put another video, because I'm reworking on some things about my channel. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe there, or follow me on Twitch and subscribe to this YouTube channel, which is called Shatter Matrix Streams. But my other channel is called Shatter Matrix. You can find it in the future tab. But that's it for today. Goodbye.